Hi guys. Hi guys. Sorry, didn't have this out yet. So I don't know what the post. I tried singing to songs from Disney, but that didn't really work. I'm not really feeling well. I've been drinking a lot of apple juice and orange juice, and yeah. And I have school tomorrow at like 9, and it's like quarter to 10 at night. So I need to go to bed soon, but I wanted to post something to, you know, I know I posted a couple days ago of When Calls the Heart, my favorite scene from Rosemary and Leland Coulter. Um, if you don't know what I'm referring to, go back to my latest post on Facebook or on YouTube. Um, it's hysterical. Rosemary gets a phone in the house, and Lee is like, he's not upset. He just doesn't want a phone in his house because he already has one in his office. So, and Rosemary makes up excuses saying that what if Elizabeth needs help with baby Jack, or what if there's a plague, and Lee's reaction, he says, "Did you just say plague?" And I burst into laughter every time because he's my favorite character from. Well, he starts appearing in season 2, but he doesn't get married. He doesn't get married to Rosemary until season 3, and he helps Elizabeth with baby Jack, and he runs the um, sawmill, which is like wood, cutting down trees, and he's like one of the major employers. And then my other favorite characters are Lucas and Nathan. Lucas is the saloon owner slash oil proprietor. Um, he did run the oil company with Henry Gowan, but Henry wasn't feeling well and he almost had to shut down the oil business. And then Lucas stepped in and took over, but he's struggling. Um, Season 8 premiered this past Sunday, and episode 2 will be up this Sunday. So I'm really excited to see what happens with Lucas and Nathan and Elizabeth. And Nathan is the new Mountie in Hope Valley. After it took them. I want to say a couple episodes to put a new Mountie in because Elizabeth's former husband, Jack, was killed in action. He was training some new recruits. Uh, I don't remember what actually happened. I think it was like a rock slide. And he was trying to save one of the recruits, and he died. So, and Elizabeth, at the end of season 5, found out she was pregnant. And then the beginning of season 6, in the Christmas episode, she gives birth to her son Jack, and um, she like goes through the motions with raising him alone, and she's trying to figure out which man is suitable for being a father figure and a suitable husband that she can rely on and stuff. I honestly don't know who she's gonna pick. Nathan has some parenting experience because he has a niece who he adopted. I mean, in season 8, we'll find out if she gets adopted or not. I know if you haven't seen season 1 or episode 1 of season 8 yet, I know that Nathan runs into Allie's biological father. Um, he took off when she was 4, and then Nathan took over raising her after her mother died. So, and she's like 10 and 11 years old. Yeah. So they've been moving around from place to place, and they finally made Hope Valley their home. But what's really cool with Nathan is that he's very shy and timid, and he is attracted to Elizabeth, but he doesn't know how to show it because he's very tongue tied around her. And the other thing that is really interesting is his bond with Bill Avery, who is the sheriff slash judge in it, in One Calls the Heart. And, yeah. So, it's really cool. And then Jesse Flynn is married to Clara Stanton. They get married at the season 7, episode 6, maybe? Yeah. Rosemary is Clara's matron of honor, and Lee is Jesse's best man. And Jesse works for Lee in the sawmill. He's I forget. He's the not foreman. He took over the position with Henry when Henry left to go do the oil business. Sorry if I'm not looking at the camera. I don't like looking at myself, and plus there's a giant reflection in my glasses. That's probably the other reason. But I have the summary of what happened. Jesse and Clara have a little they're not communicating. Lee and Rosemary went on a trip to Los Angeles, then to Rio, then to oh crap. No. Yeah, Los Angeles, Chile, Rio, and then I think they New York, then back to Hope Valley. But they came back a month early. Yeah, it's weird. And then Jesse's overwhelmed with running the sawmill, and Clara's stressed out from running the dress shop, which she runs with Rosemary after Dottie left. Dottie Ramsey is Mayor Ramsey's wife, but he died on the road. He was after he became mayor, after he left the mayorship in Hope Valley, right before Henry took over. He died selling stuff from his wagon. I think if I'm remembering that correctly. I think I have it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Uh, so the end of season 7, there was a giant cliffhanger in the last 5 minutes. There was an incident where Nathan and Bill were almost killed. Well, not necessarily Bill, but Nathan. He was going to transfer a prisoner to Buxton, and he was almost shot. And when Bill came running into Hope Valley fast with the wagon, the transport wagon, with the gunshot wounded victim in the back, Elizabeth ran out of the mercantile like in a panic and started to cry. And then she turned around and saw that Nathan was behind her, and she ran and hugged him. Meanwhile, Lucas came out of the saloon and got jealous, and he left. And then halfway into season 8, episode 1, he came back, knocked on her door, and she was like surprised to see him. So, and then Lee and Rosemary come back like unexpectedly, like, And then little Jack is like, "Who are they? I don't know them." Like that look. Like, um. Uh. But and then Faith Carter returns with a mysterious guy because her stagecoach broke down a couple miles out of Chicago because she was in Chicago for school because she wants to become a doctor because she's already a nurse, but she only had 2 more classes to take before she became a doctor. And now she's doing her residency slash internship equivalent with Carson Shepard, Dr. Carson Shepard, who I absolutely adore. He's played by Paul Green, who has a YouTube channel, and his music is awesome. Um, it's Paul Green on YouTube. Um, yeah. So I found the summary. Before we get into the most significant question on this for everybody on the mind, let's see. Carson has been on pins and needles waiting for Faith to return from medical school. That funky feeling turned to downright panic when Faith's coach failed to arrive, and she didn't arrive on the next coach either. As they say, timing is everything. Rosemary and Lee return from their African adventure, mere moments from Faith coming barreling in driving a buckboard wagon with a strange man beside her. And it's like a picture of Carson and Faith hugging after. So, it's a little confusing for Carson and us because Faith had coach trouble and was expected on the stage arriving with Lee and Rosemary, and she arrived within minutes of it. You have to wonder why she chose to take the buckboard route. She sure was having a heck of a time since with her new buddy, Brett. Gave her the reins, but the entire situation gave Carson pause, and rightfully so. Faith had fast-tracked medical training, so it was no surprise that her call and letters were fewer and further between as she wrapped it up. She was probably very excited to start her new career and return to Carson. But the less you know, the less you know. The lack of information helps you create the alternative scenarios in with your mind, and it seems like Carson went there. Both, but Faith's feelings didn't change, and they took a day together to get reacquainted, and we have no doubt that they'll be full speed ahead for the rest of When Calls the Heart season 8. And at that time when they take the break, they're at the pond, and Carson sings his song, which the actor actually wrote. Paul Green, who plays Carson, wrote. It's called. Let me find the. I have it in my playlist on Spotify. It's called Waves of Time. He plays it for Faith at the pond. So, okay, continuing on with the summary. Sorry, I have to sit up and get a drink. Faith and Lee return just in time to keep another relationship in check. Clara and Jesse have had a difficult time adjusting to marriage. My phone went haywire. Sorry. Okay. It's easy to imagine that going from chastised. I don't know. It's CHASTE. I don't know that word. Dating to living with each other would be challenging. And if you watch When Calls the Heart online, you know that Clara and Jesse were having misunderstandings between them because of their communication style well before they got hitched. Yeah, communication is key in a marriage. Um, and there's like a scene with Fiona, who is the former telephone operator. She got fired in the end of season 7. Fiona says, "Clara, what is it?" Clara says, "All we do is bicker about everything. About everything. Last night Jesse slept in the other room." Meanwhile, in the morning of that scene, Jesse's yelling at Clara, "Why don't you wake me up?" And then a couple minutes later, "Where are my boots?" Like, and then Lee comes back, and then it's, alright, continuing. So when their marriage expectations fell a little short, Clara was often in tears, and Jesse was seeking solace away from home. That's not the way to keep a good thing going. And then, Lee and Rosemary take over, sort of, and that's the next scene in the episode. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry. I don't know why it's like that, but it says Lee and Rosemary and Lee have mastered the art of communication. They surely did. Lee offered advice to Jesse about it in the past. He knows how to read Rosemary's actual conversations versus her intent, and it works beautifully. Well, Lee knows how to read Rosemary, and vice versa. So, because they've been married since season 3, and it's season 8 right now. So they've been married for like 5 seasons. Yeah. So, continuing. Jesse love of reading was the biggest issue, as he couldn't find the time to do it without it seeming like he was purposefully trying not to spend time with Clara. Sneaking in time to do it outside of their home left Clara believing that there was something worse driving them apart. Another issue was Clara's 2 jobs and keeping up the house without Jesse's, respecting how much of her time gets chewed away. She enjoys all of those things, but when Jesse can't find his socks and something silly like that, she got to put everything aside and take care of him. She just liked a little caring on his end too. And then it says, Lee says later, he says, "You'll see, Jesse. Love isn't just a feeling or an emotion. It's a choice, and your marriage is a commitment you choose to renew every single day. Open your eyes to the flowers, and then you'll see. Choose love, then you feel it." Now, the scene that is in is Lee takes Jesse to where Jesse had his first kiss with Clara. And Jesse kind of forgot that. So, continuing on with the thing. A tandem bicycle isn't going to cure their problems, but it was a subtle way of reminding them that new lives require them to do the things they love together. Rosemary and Lee buy a tandem bicycle for them. Yeah, that was a funny scene. And then, see that picture? Yeah, okay, yeah. With Faith and Claire's issues sorted out, they have time to spend with Fiona, who decided she is interested in proving that she can be a big wheel without throwing others to the wolves in the process. She got fired because she told her boss she wasn't small. Her boss told her that she was a small cog in a big wheel, which she's not. So, um, she's she's taking everything she learned about business and investing in a barbershop, not because she loves men's hair, but because she knows that where men go to tell their hair down, so to speak, and chat about what matters most to them. Fiona hasn't revealed how that information will solidify her future, but if anyone can make something of herself without a hand out or a hand up, it's Fiona. Fiona has like 8 siblings, which is revealed in an article that was supposed to be about Henry Gallen last season in season 7. So, continuing. When Rosemary got home, she couldn't wait to find out if Elizabeth made a decision about her suitors. The biggest surprise was that she had naturally leaned toward Elizabeth choosing Lucas. Apparently, Lucas was touching all the right nerves as he courted Elizabeth until she saw Nathan return unharmed from the latest Mountie adventure. She thought she was choosing Lucas too. Oh. But her reaction drove away Lucas. She didn't know at the time, but he willfully explained why he left abruptly without a proper goodbye. Thankfully, Elizabeth didn't second guess herself by foregoing ahead with Nathan in Lucas's absence. But part of that was on Nathan. Yeah. A chunk of time has passed, and Nathan and Elizabeth haven't had dinner yet together as promised. But when Nathan went around to talk about it, she wasn't eager to say yes. Making the entire escapade more vital, both men showed interest in her family and proved to be role models Elizabeth would have for her son, little Jack. And then this is a picture of Lucas. And he seems different appearance-wise in this season than last. Lucas says, "What are you two doing?" Elizabeth says, "Well, we were watching a mama bunny and her baby." Lucas says, "No, Daddy?" Elizabeth says, "We think that Daddy went hippity-hop to the candy shop." Lucas says, "To buy a piece of candy, one for me and one for you?" Elizabeth said, "And one for Sister Annie, Helen, and then she says, Helen Bouchard taught you Mother Goose?" Lucas then replies, "Helen Bouchard taught me to read, and after that I was on my own." So, yeah. And then it talks about why Lucas left. Lucas was on a mission to help rebuild a school that had been destroyed during a hurricane, and he seemed thrilled to see little Jack. And he admitted that his trip had given him much needed perspective. No matter what Elizabeth decides, he only wants her to be happy. Nathan secures a dinner date with Elizabeth and then couldn't make it. He had bigger fish to fry with the arrival of Allie's dad, Dylan. hoping to score some cash from his brother-in-law. He's a real piece of work. He is. Dylan didn't even recognize his own daughter in the photo, but he didn't have a problem threatening her happiness by putting the sticks